Oh shit! YouTube ain't killed us yet. What up, motherfuckers? We're gonna keep it Warriors. This is episode 85. My name is Eddie Law. That's Fred Kirby. That's just Uriah. Still alive, son. He's still alive. They can't kill my boy. They can't kill.
That's right. It can't take me out.
Yeah, you can't kill this motherfucker, man. They've tried so many times. Can't do it. All right. Let's talk about the probably the biggest story out right now is Khabib Nurmagomedov against Tony Ferguson, fighting at UFC 223. Now, I mean, a lot of reports have been coming out. A lot of people. I mean, Dana White went on Boston radio and basically, confirmed that shit. Now, obviously, the thought process that they'll be fighting for the real belt, which means stripping one Conor McGregor. So it's kind of a mess, a little bit to unpack here. Fred, your thoughts when you first heard about the fight finally, I guess, being made?
I mean, listen, this fight's been made like 9 times, right? Or on Twitter where somebody quoted like this fight's literally been made in 2015, 2016, 2017, and now 2018. So, listen, the fact that they made the fight, I mean, I guess with all the hoopla that was going on with Conor, it is a little surprising. But we've been supposed to get this fight. What it comes down to is can, stay healthy. Because make no mistake about it, Khabib's got the weight thing. But one of those times, Tony pulled out with an injury too. So I don't mean to be the fucking cunt bearer of bad news, but let's just hope both of these fuckers make it to the cage. That being said, yeah, I'm down with this fight. I mean, obviously this is, short of throwing Conor into the mix. This is the fight to be had. And just quickly on the whole Conor getting stripped thing, who gives a fuck? I mean, I think it's a little silly that people make such a big deal out of this. Like, Conor ain't going to fight the winner. So what is it like? Sure, strip him of the title. What would it matter? When he does come back, if he does, when he does, he going to fight whoever the champion is at that time. And none of us, whoever wins this fight between Khabib and Tony Ferguson, there will be some people out there that will say, oh, yeah, that's the real champion. Conor hasn't fought, blah, blah, blah. In all reality, we know that Conor is still the champ at 55. 45, you can take that belt away. He'll probably never fight there again. 55 is his natural weight. He's the champ there. I got, a lot of respect for whoever wins this fight, but they still have to fight Conor. Quite frankly, GSP is still the champ at middleweight for all of me. Tires, and believe me, it burns my fucking biscuits to say that. But facts are facts, man. I mean, he fucking beat Bisping. I think Bisping was lucky as fuck to have the belt, but goddamn it, he had the belt. Goddamn it, Conor McGregor knocked out Eddie Alvarez. Yep. He's your fucking champion, like it or not.
And that's the thing about it. No matter what they do, it's gonna be, oh no, they didn't beat the real champ. It doesn't matter. Like, they'll be dismissed.
Yeah, I mean, they shouldn't be dismissed, but on the same token, somebody does have to fight Conor to get that real belt. But that being said, they should strip Conor because he hasn't defended. Do what you got to do. I'm just saying, people making a big deal one way or the other, it doesn't really matter, because whenever Conor fights, one of these 3 fuckers are going to fight each other. Yeah. We already knew. Either Conor was going to come back and unify the belts with Tony, or he was going to sit out and they was going to do this. And then Conor will inevitably either fight the winner or retire. Or go back to boxing or whatever the fuck. But either way, there's only so many ways this thing can play out. People like, oh, strip Conor, don't strip Conor. Who gives a fuck? Let him keep the belt or don't. He's going to have to fight the winner of this fight, period.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, too. Is just, you're not going to get rid of the McGregor thing until he retires or leaves and goes to boxing or whatever. So, Jesse, so now we're thinking, what were they? We get an outright title, right? Conor bails, right, or Conor gets stripped. What was your first reaction when you heard about this whole thing going down?
I was excited to finally get that matchup. I mean, what was it? I think somebody online tweeted out that McGregor has now held up over a year 2 divisions, each respectively, the 145 and the 155. And I think the problem with what Fred is saying, in my opinion, is that, yeah, he won the title, but he never defended it. And a lot of this, kind of holding out and trying to figure out, like, what's your next move and all this stuff, it just kind of devalued for me the championship title. And, allowing him to do what he did, go to boxing and all that, kind of just gave him the opportunity to make a lot of money, and that's good for him. But also, he should have dropped the title a long time ago, and we should have moved on with, this division. I mean, we would have had Tony Ferguson as a champion already, and I'm sure he would have already defended by now, right? We would have already had these matchups set up and everything, and I don't think we'd be in this position, wondering, hoping for the great Conor McGregor to come back. That being said, I think the other problem is that the thing I wanted to address too was the fact that there's a lot of reporters, Twitter guys that get breaking news and stuff like that. And when the quote unquote big guys of the sport, i.e. Ariel Helwani and stuff like that, try to downplay when people actually get scoops like this, it's crap, man, because they forget where they came from. And a lot of these guys that actually break the news and stuff are actually there grinding away every day, writing stuff every day, really, hammering those numbers, texting people, finding out all this information, and they get real legit confirmation. For Ariel to go on there and be like, oh yeah, don't believe this guy, wait till I say it or whatever, it's like Ariel's not the end all be all,
Hey Zeus,
being pissed off.
You should explain that a little bit for people who may not be so much of an MMA nerd. The BJ Penn, it was a writer from BJPenn.com, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so a Russian site put it out, and then someone from BJ Penn supposedly confirmed it, and then MMA Kings was on it, and then so on and so forth.
And Ariel started hating, like, well, it's not technically. I checked my sources, and they didn't say hogga jogga blogga jogga.
There you go. You summed it up pretty well. I mean, there's probably a lot more crying involved when Ariel found out that he was jumped over or not told specifically what was going on. Especially after, Dana White went on the radio station and basically confirmed it, like, what was it? I think like an hour or two later, Ariel still was like, oh no, it's not confirmed yet. There's still a lot of hurdles to get through. So, nothing done yet. Like, shut up. Like, just admit it, just admit you got had this time. Anyway.
Look, I get what you're saying, man. He constantly does the shit like that, and he gets so upset one night. I don't know what sources he has, and I don't really care. But he has his petty moments. What are you gonna do? Anyway, all right. So as far as I don't know if you guys have seen it, the reaction on Twitter from the Conor super fans, they are pissed. Like, you can't strip him of the title. What the fuck? He never got to defend it. He wasn't gonna defend it. And honestly, like Fred said, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I mean, look, if you worried, the only thing I can really see that really matters, listen, back, he's definitely 1,000% going to get the winner of this fight for a title shot. His spot in the line is not lost. And at that point, the only thing that really matters is maybe a little bit of extra money for pay-per-view points or whatever. I mean, hypothetically, Conor will probably get that anyways because he's going to be fighting for the title. Need it. He don't need the extra 5-10. Like, he'll be okay, man. Like, his fans really, I'm a fan of his. Deal. If they strip him of the title, what does it really mean? Make 45 to do that again? Champ there. But I don't think he wants to make that cut. His body looks like it physically can't take that shit no more. So I'm past that.
Yeah.
But I do think he'll fight again, and I do think it'll be at 55 around September this year, like he said.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what? I'm gonna play the Eddie Bravo hero of the group, and I'm gonna say that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna say this stripping of the title is gonna lead us to the promised lands here. We're gonna get that McGregor, Nate Diaz fight for the third time. I think that's what's setting this up. Now he's no longer tied to a title. Now Nate Diaz doesn't have to be a number one contender. Now we can just have this trilogy fight, make all the money in the world, and then bam, Conor rides into the sunset.
Nope. Here's the thing. I completely listen. I don't disagree that that'll happen. It might, but I'll say this. If they pull that stunt, that'll be the end of the money era. That'll be the end of it. Let me tell you something, Jack. To be said for the titles. They might not mean what they used to, but they do still matter. if they try to strip Conor McGregor and let Khabib and Tony fight, God forbid one of them finishes the other one in a big fashion, money fight. Don't nobody give a fuck about Nate Diaz. People that still think that are think you're living in a fan. Don't get me wrong. People will pay for that fight. Conor gonna sell regardless. But this clinging to the Nate Diaz thing, I think is a little goofy. Conor could fight a broomstick and sell a million buys. But if Khabib comes out and smashes Tony Ferguson, hypothetically, Khabib versus Conor becomes infinitely bigger than now. Nate ain't fought forever. And Conor's coming off a boxing L to Floyd. And if there's no belt on the line, like I think if they try to do that and they try to force that money fight down our throat, I think that'll be the time it blows up in WME's face. And that fight does nowhere near what they expect it to do. It gonna sell because it's Conor. But I think Conor versus Khabib at that point would do way bigger numbers, even in the mainstream.
Well, no, I agree with you, but I think a lot has to do with this weekend's pay-per-view event. I think if you have a Francis Ngannou winning in a spectacular fashion, I think WME rolls the dice and says, look, we got a new superstar, we got a heavyweight superstar, you know, and I think we can do away with the Conor McGregor era, just cash in on one more fight. I could see them rolling the dice and hoping that, you know, Nate Diaz takes that fight, make a big pay-per-view sell, a big pay-per-view push, and then they can see Conor McGregor right off into the sunset. Because remember, Conor wants a part of the company to make his next fight happen. So if he's no longer the champ, I don't think he has as much leverage. And if they have another superstar on their hand, they don't have to bend to Conor's will. And I think they'll give him some matchup like that to try and cash in on him one last time. But I agree with you. I think the most logical and the most exciting fight we can make is the winner of that fight. But I mean, we've seen some funky stuff before, man, where something that's logical doesn't even happen.
Here's the question.
You think Conor wants?
Yeah, which was a bigger fight, Khabib Conor or Khabib Conor Ferguson?
Are you
for me or for both of us?
Both of you guys. Whoever wants to go first.
I would say the Khabib fight.
Yeah.
I would say Conor Khabib.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Listen. For me personally, right now, okay, Khabib has to fight Tony Ferguson. So we'll see what happens with that. For all of me, if Khabib beats Tony and looks okay doing it, unless that fight sucks, Khabib versus Conor MMA. Period. I think it's the biggest fight that can be made in MMA.
You think they get crazy and they do that shit in Russia?
I don't know about all of that.
Yeah.
But I would not rule it out. I wouldn't rule it out. What does Conor like to do?
Yeah.
Fighting Khabib in Russia will have a fucking Rumble in the Jungle vibe. Think about this. Picture it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Picture Khabib smashes Tony Ferguson. Say smashes right through that 10th planet jiu-jitsu shit. Oh, fucking rubber guard, tricky bullshit. Khabib just number one bullshit fucking smashes Tony Ferguson. Sets up the fight in Russia, turn fight to MMA. Like the UFC's first fight in Russia, that shit will be huge. Huge. And Russia has a built-in base. They've been cultivating since Fedor. Those fans are there. Russia, you know, Russia's right up there with Canada and Brazil as a hotbed of MMA and fans. You know what I'm saying? Russians aren't lost upon the fact that Fedor and the Khabib are a thing, and all the other fucking Russians you can name off that are fucking doing big things in the fight game right now. I think that's the biggest fight you can make in MMA if Khabib wins his next fight.
Yeah, I agree with you guys completely. Khabib's the fight. Especially, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember that quote that he had after, not the last one, but fight before. I think it was at 205. He says, "I want to fight with your chicken." He's like, Ireland, 6 million, Russia, 150 million.
Yeah, no, and that's just it. Khabib is almost as good on the mic as Conor. Now, I know that sounds a little ridiculous, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's good. Nobody's Conor. He has this, say styles make fights, right?
Yeah.
And they do. But styles also make pre-fights. I don't think Conor's bullshit will work on Khabib.
No, hell no.
Khabib is a different type of character that I almost think Khabib might turn the tables and start getting in Conor's head. Khabib's never tapped out. Khabib's never lost a round. They're in Mother Russia, 150 million deep. He'll be at that goddamn it fight, Jack. Like,
yeah, he would.
The pre-fight will be very interesting with somebody like Khabib. Because I just don't know if those antics work on him.
Yeah.
Conor will almost have to pull out a different shtick because that normal shit looks stupid because Khabib just won't play those games.
Right. Real quick, Loudmouth MMA, you know that's your boy. He says, I want to fight Fred's chicken. I didn't know you had a chicken.
I listen. I got only one chicken, and it's a big one, Jack. And I don't think who wants to fight with this chicken. So
that's Kyle, dude. Loudmouth MMA. That's your boy, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Fred's chicken. Yeah, no, Kyle. Listen, I didn't hear who you said. You don't want to. You don't want that fight, son. My mighty cock.
Oh, this motherfucker. All right. Real quick, shout out to Joe Paredes, Uncle Hank's drinking buddy, Priya Rose, Gundes in the building, Raider, Joey Tremendous here, Gary Cosin, what up? And dude, everyone's showing up, so that's cool. You can see a lot of talk about Conor and 155. Joe was saying, people were saying, just have him retire, and then Joel said he unretires and still cleans out the division again. So it's kind of going back and forth about that. And then real quick, just give me a yes or no. Would you, Fred, want to see Conor McGregor against Tyron Woodley?
Okay, you broke up for me. What did you say?
Oh, would you want to see Conor McGregor versus Tyron Woodley
in his next fight back?
Just any fight ever.
Sure, fuck it, I don't give a shit. Yeah, at some point maybe not his next fight, but fuck if he comes back and smashes Khabib in Mother Russia. Count me in, bitches. On the tracks.
Jesse, yes or no on that one?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, what are you gonna do? Oh, and then Fight Book, what up, man? Says just do McNuggets versus Mayweather 2. Damn it, they were fucking around. They were fucking around trying to get that done.
Only if it's in a cage. God damn it.
Boxing in the cage?
Fair. I'm fucking boxing in the cage, man. MMA.
Dude, they'll never do that.
Well, whatever, man. That's the only way it happens. Fair is fair. God damn it. He boxed him once. He only go there and look stupid again. Shit. All
right. So let's talk UFC St. Louis happened this last weekend. Jesse, did you get to watch any of that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So, your biggest thing that coming out of this card, a lot of people talking about, Joel says, fuck yeah, I like man bun. Now pass that shit. He sees what you have to. A lot of people talking about Paige Van Zandt breaking her arm, right? There's like the biggest story coming out of there. Jesse, the biggest story coming out of UFC St. Louis for you.
How good Irene Aldana looked in her fight, her return fight to the cage. It's been a while since we've seen her, and she looked pretty damn good, pretty impressive. But yeah, I guess like the bigger story has to be PVZ. But I think the bigger story is her team not helping her out in that fight. I mean, with a broken arm like that, you give her one more round. She broke it in the first round. You give her another round. It's not looking good. You just pull her out of that fight, man. The damage that she could have done to her arm is pretty extensive, So I think her team really deserves a thumbs down here. And, they really need to protect their fighter more so than, oh, she needs to tough it out and go out there. Like, no, man, you need to protect your fighter one way or another.
All right, biggest thing coming from St. Louis there, Fred.
I mean, it's hard not to agree with that. Kind of the Paige Van Zandt arm break thing was kind of the biggest story. Though, man, who continues to kind of win when you don't really expect him to win and just derail those hype trains. I was rooting for the Korean Superboy, but goddamn Jeremy Stevens, the little heathen, ain't nothing nice, man. Cocksucker's been around for a month of Sundays and still hits like a fucking truck.
I like how no one. Yeah,
I think this, like Jesus was saying, man, the major story is this idea of being a tough guy or girl in MMA meaning something, and does anybody ever throw the towel in MMA? Like, you got to literally have your eyeball hanging out of your head, and there's almost this idea that like fighters will even leave camps, like if their coach, it's almost like a sign of disrespect or fucking betrayal or some shit like that. So I think there's a conversation to be had there about that kind of needing to change in MMA a little bit. I guess if somebody has their arm broken, what the fuck, right? You live to fight another day. The broad she was fighting put it on her, because you're right, going in there with a broken arm, man, a vicious striker that can kick that arm over and over again, that could have fucked her arm up bad, depending on who she was fighting.
Well, yeah, it's like she didn't even know. You think she knew? You should be like, oh, okay, cool. Same kicks. Like, go ahead and block this shit with that busted arm.
Just throw them at that arm, man. It's either going to hit that arm or her head. Fuck.
Yeah. Interesting that no one said Kamaru Usman. Like, that dude was calling for the world after that fight. Dude, that was boring.
Yeah, that was, well, especially from a guy that talked all that shit coming into it. Like, listen, man, if you're going to talk that, and don't, bruh, hear about the 30% shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know
what it means, but like, you can't say that. You can't at the end of the fight be like, oh, I was only at 30% and I still dominated. Haga blaga. Nah, bro. I'm sorry. That seems very cheap and very unbuyable at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he didn't win any fans with it.
Oh, listen, what you have to do after, look, he won. And Amik Mill is a fucking animal. Yep. So 30%, 40%, 100%, he still deserves the credit. He won that fight. After that fight, you take your booze, you promise to do better next time, and you shut that trap up. You can't start in with the excuse making, because even if he's telling the truth, and he probably is, fuck, we're ornery little cocksuckers, man. We're fans sitting there drinking our fucking Pepsi and eating our pizza. We don't want to hear why you just made us sit through bullshit. Say you're sorry and move on. And
he kind of derailed his own hype train in a way by saying that 30% shit. Like, oh, okay, dude, that's cool. That's great.
It just seems like a weak excuse, man. And I mean, maybe he's probably telling the truth, but it just seems very, I wasn't all there tonight.
Yeah, I think the language barrier is a thing we have to take into consideration, because it just seems like he wasn't able to express himself the correct way. Like Fred just said, had he been able to just say something more appropriate, like, you know what, guys, like, I came in like pretty hurt. This is the best I could do. I'm sorry for my performance, but I'm still, I still put on a win against a top contender. Let's move on past this fight or something like that. But the way he came off, I think was the problem with that fight. Nobody wants to talk about Kamaru Usman, because I think, honestly, nobody wants to see him fight, because I think we see a very boring fight between him and Tyron Woodley, right? But, I mean, he keeps doing what he's doing. I mean, eventually he's going to get there, right? So, I mean, it just sucks that's what it's going to be like.
I was excited until that fight. Like, I was super hyped for him and Amik Mill. And then he kind of, shit the bed a little bit on this one. It. But I mean, I ain't even hating for real. Like I said, Amik was a tough guy. Arm burners. Just don't fucking piss on me and tell me it's raining.
Exactly. No, that's exactly it.
It wasn't the worst fight in the world. All due respect, it wasn't. We've seen worse ones, so.
It just didn't live up to all the shit talk. I'll tell you that
much. Exactly.
Let's talk about what was supposed to be a fight. Let's talk about the first part of it. Uriah Hall doesn't make weight. Didn't even weigh in. Actually had to go to the hospital. It was supposedly it was like on death's door, some crazy shit. And luckily he's okay and all that from the last thing I've heard. But this weight cut thing is getting pretty fucking crazy. And Fred, you wanted to talk about this.
Yeah. I actually talked about this with Kyle on the show we do, man. I got the perfect thing for this shit. I've thought about this after this shit happened. I was thinking about it, and you know what? So, and like I said on that show, here's the thing, man. I liken this weight cut shit to the steroid shit. I think that's ever going to change. You're never going to change people from cheating and taking steroids and trying to get the new steroid that's undetectable. You're never going to change people of trying to cut too much weight. As long as there's weight classes, there'll be men and women trying to cut weight to get into them shits. Like, no matter what, you're going to have that. And financial penalties only go so far. Girls and guys make a lot of money. I mean, you can't charge Conor McGregor enough money that it matters. I look to baseball for inspiration. I hate baseball. Can't stand that sport. I tell you what, well, they're firm with a couple rules. Like, for instance, 3 strikes. 3 strikes, and you're out, Jack. Now, not out of the game, but you're done fucking hitting the ball for that moment. Strikes, and that's it. I say we fucking bring that to MMA. And fuck it, you know what? Fuck it. Not MMA, but the UFC. The UFC can only govern itself. It can't control the whole sport, technically speaking. But, you know, let Bellator, let them juice up on Bellator and let them be years behind. But in the UFC, implement a 3-strike rule for steroids and fucking missing weight and fucking passing out and whatever the fuck weird shit you do at the last moment. If you fucking miss weight or you get popped with steroids, that's one of your 3 strikes. After 3 strikes, you're out. You are no longer allowed to fight in the UFC. Banned for life. Where's Paul Daly at? Somebody find Paul Daly. What they did to Paul Daly, you become Paul Daly if you get 3 strikes, motherfucker. So if you've popped once for fucking T-ball and goddamn it, you had a little bit too much tiramisu one time, you better not fuck up again, or it's fuck you, goddamn it. You're on down the road to fucking Risen or whatever the fuck. And hopefully, you know, people start fucking getting the hint. Because if not, we're just going to keep dealing with this, man. There's no real to scare fucking people a little.
Yeah, no, you really do. And I mean, if almost dying on a weight cut doesn't scare you enough, you got to fucking, you know, you got to work on some shit there. Jesse, what do you think about it?
You know what? I kind of like where Fred's head is at there. A 3-strike rule. But I think you have to keep the whole drug and weight thing separate, in my opinion. Just because, like, I see what Fred's trying to say. You have to really implement, you know, some really harsh punishments. And I think it was Mike Dolch or something was talking about kind of like the same deal where if you miss weight once, I think they charge you like 60% of your fight purse. And the second time they charge you your complete fight purse, and then the third time you just can't fight in that weight class ever again or something like that. You know,
I can almost dig that.
So harsh. Something so harsh that it sounds harsh when you say it, but then you realize, like, okay, you're not only saving this person from what happened to Uriah Hall. Let's talk about that. A guy who was on weight, supposedly, walking downstairs to go weigh in, passes out, has a seizure, wakes up hours later in the hospital because he was basically killing himself to make that weight. Like, that's something that is eventually going to kill somebody. Yeah. You know, eventually we're going to hear somebody attempting to make this weight. Like Renan Barão. Remember what happened to Renan Barão? Right before he was supposed to weigh in and had to be taken to the hospital. You know, like, it's these things that, you know, we're playing this dangerous game of letting these guys cut this much weight and stuff. And eventually one of these guys is going to roll snake eyes and he's going to die, you know, one way or another. I do like the California State Athletic Commission, how they have, you know, they're testing you according to, going to test your hydration and all this stuff. And they're not allowing you to weigh more than, I think, 15 pounds over your supposed weight that you weighed in at. So they're going to do a same day weigh-ins of the event. I think that's also something that you have to look at. Something, you know, even though, of course, like Eddie was saying, and you guys were saying, savages that are going to, you know, make a second weight cut after their weight cut, you know, to not, you know, get hit by that penalty. So, I mean, there's so many things that we have to look at, but I definitely think that Fred's right. We need some sort of penalty that is so harsh and so far beyond what is going to be the benefit of if you're able to pass all this stuff. You know, if you're still going to cut yourself down to all this stuff, it's not going to be worth it to you.
Now with Hall, it might be a little different because right now what you guys are speaking, I was looking up some stuff up, and this is from MMA Junkie. Now Dana White does these, post-fight scrums every once in fucking 8 moons, right? But he did one on Sunday, and here's what came out of that. This is from MMAJunkie.com. This is his quote. The guys at the UFC Performance Institute said he's he doesn't take it serious. He doesn't take his training serious. He doesn't do what anybody tells him. He does his own thing. A week before the fight, he went to LA and was hanging out in LA clubs and stuff. So not good. White said he communicated with Hall and described his condition as not good. This is White again. Quote, he texted me Sunday night. He's back in his room. Obviously, he's not good. And if you don't cut weight the right way and you don't do what you're supposed to do, this is what happens. And what I think Hall needs to think about is fight at 205. Fight at 205 or show up and do what you're supposed to do. There's ways to cut weight properly and safely. You need to start doing that. That's why that's what we are encouraging everybody to come into the UFC Performance Institute. So this sounds like Uriah Hall is to blame. Now, like Dana White does throw shit on people all the time, so keep that in mind. But if it's true that he went to LA clubs and stuff like that the week before the fight, if it's true he's not taking it seriously, there's something in here that he needs to fix.
Listen, how many fights does Uriah Hall have? How many professional fights?
I think 20 some, but I think it's 12 in the UFC.
I mean, how many other times has he had seizures on his way to the scale?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, look, fucking Khabib, a prime example of this. We just saw him weigh in on weight and perform amazingly. A guy who's had horrible problems. His body literally shut down trying to make the weight. But it just goes to show you they're not doing it properly. They're trying to cut way too much, way too quick, and they're doing it all the wrong ways, and that'll kill you. But you know what? You're big boys. That's on you. Do the proper thing. Uriah Hall has weighed in properly how many ever? 20 times. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This one time, he pushed it. And he pushed it a little too hard, and it bit him on the ass. I mean, that shit's on him. I'm glad nothing permanently bad happened to him, but he's made this weight plenty of times before. It ain't like you can be like, oh, he was trying to move down, and he just bit off a little more than he could chew. Class, bruh.
Yeah. Hey, Eddie, I don't know if you can look it up real quick on Twitter, but I think it was either Mike Bond or somebody that does statistics out there that threw it out there. I think they said that ever since they did the morning weigh-ins, we had like 87 or something like that people pull out of fights because of the morning weigh-ins. And prior to that, before we implemented the morning day weigh-ins, I think it was like something like 15 or something like that people had pulled out. And I think they did it like within like certain amount of events or the last or 3 years prior to that happening. So, I mean, do you guys here's my question. Do you guys think that this early morning weigh-ins has something to do with that problem? Or is it that just we have more knuckleheads trying to cut the weight and trying to make that hard weight cut in a much more stupid fashion?
Well, what are the actual times? Like, what's the latest that you can weigh in now? And what was the latest that you could weigh in before? I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean,
how late?
They weighed in at what is now the fake weigh-ins. That's when they weighed in. Like, that was legit.
Okay, right. Which was what time was
in the
that?
afternoon. That was like 6 p.m.-ish or so.
Like 6 p.m.-ish. Okay. What's the latest that you can weigh in now?
Oh, man. I think they usually start them at 9 a.m. and I think they have 2 hours. Isn't it? Is that right? I think 2 hours to weigh in.
Yes. It's 2 hours to weigh in, and I don't think you have a second shot at it, right?
Well, it depends. It depends on the commission whether you get a second shot or not.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of a bummer. I mean, I guess that's like 6 extra hours that you would have to make weight, right? Like, I mean, I guess it's 6 extra hours that you have to hydrate afterwards on the flip side.
But couldn't you just like adjust to that? You know what I mean?
You should, right? One would think, but I mean, that's that's like asking people to be responsible for themselves. Imagine that.
Very good point. Shout out to Dave, man. What up, man? Priya Rose says Hall has never had weight problems before. He said his body shut down 3 weeks out, and then he went to LA and was at clubs. That doesn't make sense, but that's that's what he said. That's why his weight cut went wrong. He was already sick or something. He might have been sick. That happens a lot. And also keep in mind his head coach. I believe Robert Frost is head coach. committed suicide not too long ago. So there's a lot of things coming at once, maybe, you know.
Listen, I am sympathetic to all of that. Then pull out of the fight 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm
saying. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, then pull out 3 weeks. That gives us 3 weeks to find another opponent for Vitor to still make this fight happen. To give Vitor at least a little bit of time to get ready for a new opponent. I heard Vitor was being a total prima donna too. I actually watched that scrum with DW.
Yeah,
and he said that they offered Vitor a fight that night. He turned it down. Offered him a fight for 220. To which he turned down. Now, I also heard that he was trying to get the fight with Bisping in England, but, you know, I hear a bunch of things. So
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, and I think Bisping might have been laughing about that one. Is UFC 220 on the 2nd or 20th of January? Is this Saturday? There you go, dude.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah, whatever that is. Anyway, which might be the 20th. I think about it because today's the 17th. Anyway, so. With as far as Vitor goes, Jesse, he didn't get paid, and Dana White says he ain't gonna get paid. Would you say that he shouldn't get paid because he didn't take one of the fights, or he should get paid anyway?
Okay, here's my question because I didn't have a chance to look at it. I was it hit me right at the last second here before we went online. But did he actually weigh in?
Who? Vitor?
Vitor. Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure, but I think he did. I'll find out for you.
Because I think as soon as the weigh-in started, they made the announcement that Uriah Hall was not going to be able to make the fight. And I think right away they said that the fight was canceled. So if Vitor did not actually weigh in, then I see why the UFC did not pay him. They offered him a fight, and he did not fight. And then they offered him another fight a week later, and he also did not take that fight. So remember, show money is you show up, you make weight, and then the other person doesn't make weight. Then you have the you know, hopefully a good manager that fights for your at least show money. Sometimes you get your win money as well, but at least your show money. But that's because you weighed in. So if Vitor did not weigh in, which I believe he did not, then he has no case.
It says he did. He came in at 186.
Oh, then he does. Like, he has to have a good manager then, man. I mean, look at all the managers that are out there that fight for their client to get their money. Unless, you know, you could even, the UFC could come back and say, oh, you know, well, you know, he didn't fight. We didn't make anything off of him. But they still allocate that money for his pay, at least his show money. So he should get that money.
Listen.
So it's kind of a bum deal that he didn't get it.
How much does anybody know how much Vitor got paid for his last fight? How much does Vitor make a fight? What are we talking about with Vitor here? Vitor ain't no fucking curtain jerker. You know what I'm saying? If that motherfucker's getting a couple hundred stacks of fight, he can hang that up. I ain't giving him 200 grand for showing up. But
there we go.
We'll cut you off like 50 grand or something like that, Vitor. He should get a little something for making weight. You know what I'm saying?
At UFC 212, when he beat Marquardt, he took home a total of $515,000. That's $300,000 a show, $200,000 win bonus, and $15,000 Reebok.
Oh, so yeah, he ain't getting none of that. How much you say he gets the show?
$300,000.
Oh, no. We give you $100K. We're not giving you 300. You didn't actually fight nobody, Vitor. Sorry, baby. But you did go through a camp. It's not your fault that Uriah fucking died on his way to the cage or whatever the fuck. So, yeah, but 300 grand's a little steep, guys. I mean, come on. Figures count a little something here. He's not a curtain jerker that we can just throw 20 grand at. Here's your show money, kid. Fucking Vitor, 300 grand. Yeah, we give him a third of his show money. Give him a little something, but 100 grand's a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
Just to make weight and go through a camp.
He says that where is the respect is what Vitor said.
Listen, real talk, him getting nothing is kind of fucked up. Yeah, him getting zero is kind of funny. I mean, man, the dude did have a training camp and some money, you know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of making a joke, but I honestly think that would be probably the rightest thing to do. Give him, he gets paid a lot of money to fight. He did not fight, but give him some of that. Give him like 100 grand, man. That way he can pay for his shit and, at least get ready for the next camp and shit. Make it somewhat worth his while.
Yeah, and I think 100K is fair. Just like Rose just said, 100K is fair. And Fightbook said he should since he weighed in. Yeah, if you weigh in, you should get something. You know, maybe
at least something,
$300,000, but something.
Right, because that is a lot of money to just to be there. But real talk, they do got the money too. Hypothetically, I wouldn't sneeze at him just paying him. I mean, it's not his fault the dude didn't show up. So
yeah, at least pay for his camp, man, or at least help him out with the camp because that camp's expensive.
Them giving him zeros fucked up.
Nah, you know what? If I was running the UFC, I'd give him a coupon code for anything he wants at Reebok, 30% off. That's good, right?
That's probably they could probably arrange that.
Give him a little card there. Here, take it to Reebok, bro. And Raider says, got to check that contract, 100%. And that's where the manager comes in. Yeah, manager don't fight people. He should. A good manager would have gotten something from the UFC.
Listen,
well, look at. No, I was gonna say, look at what was it? Uncle Creepy's manager. Every time he wasn't able to make the fight, he got at least minimum his show money. Every once in a while, he got his show and his win bonus. That's a good manager right there. That's a manager that's fighting for you and making sure that you're compensated for your time. When even Malky, even a guy like Malky would be in there running his mouth, going on Ariel's show, trying to get that money for Vitor. You just got to have a good manager, man. It just comes down to that.
You either have a good manager or you play the game like Matt Hughes and Chuck Liddell played it. Shout out to Matt Hughes. That fucking little thing they did for Matt Hughes was fucking touching and really, really fucking cool to see a dude walk out to the cage like that. But I tell you what, you think fucking Matt Hughes ain't getting his money? I bet you DW pulls some strings and makes it happen. Vitor, you've been a cunt throughout the years. You've gotten caught cheating. You went to other organizations. You ran that fucking dick sucker. You've done all kinds of heinous shit. DW is like, fuck you, Vitor. That's what you get. Now, if you're somebody like Vitor, you better have a good manager because fucking the powers that be are not looking out for you.
No, yeah, they don't give a fuck. All right. And then I want to talk about as far as money goes. Who's real quick out of us three? We're all watching UFC 220, right?
Yeah,
we're all watching it.
Of course.
Who is okay with paying $5 extra? Because that's what the price is. It's instead of $60, it's $65. Does that bother anybody besides me?
This is wild to me. Sorry, Jesse. I know I just keep fucking speaking up and running my mouth.
Nah.
This is interesting to me, to be honest with you, because I don't even really know. Is this a one thing, or do they plan on trying to make all?
So apparently, the price of this one and the price for the one where it's Rockhold Romero now for the interim belt is also $65. I think that's what I've seen.
Well, listen, all due respect to both of these cards, has to just be moving up $5, period, right? I mean, goddamn, Rockhold fucking Romero is barely pay-per-view worthy. So if they're trying to get $5 extra out of that one, and quite frankly, $220 short of fucking the co-main and the main event, flimsy card, to be honest with you, to play $5 extra, get the fuck out of here. I mean, listen, man, here's the reality, right? If I was going to pay 60, I'll probably pay 65. And most people, I imagine, have that mentality. But I'll tell you what, man, in this climate where everybody's streaming everything and everything's so goddamn easy to find somewhere, WME better not push it. That $5 might be the final straw that pushes motherfuckers into the streaming world. I tell you what, not to fucking self-incriminate myself, but I didn't want to have to stream that goddamn boxing match. I went on Twitter, and some fucking anonymous Twitter account made it too easy. I clicked that link, and boom, it took me right to the boxing match. High def, 1080p.
Yeah. Don't you mean, Fred, that's hypothetically what you would have done if you hadn't bought it?
There he is, my lawyer, ladies and gentlemen. Jesus. Exactly what he said.
You know what? I agree with you guys. I think if I'm able to walk my behind over to Buffalo Wild Wings for the fights on Saturdays, that's probably what I'll do. And I think moving forward, if all these events are that expensive, unless it's something that I desperately want or have to watch at home, I think I'm just going to hit the bars from now on, man. I just don't see this event being worth $65. You know, it's really not. I mean, I forget who on Twitter pointed out like all the fights on the card and the undercard. And there's a lot of names I didn't really recognize. There's a lot of names that aren't really worth my time and my money, honestly. It's like you guys said, it's just the co-main and the main for me. and that's about it. And that's not worth $65 to me.
And again, I'm with you guys, and I'm not paying 65. Fuck that.
Okay, now we all feel like this, right?
Yeah.
And some of us, a lot of us, I think, will bend and pay the extra $5. But this is look, they ain't gaining no new fans by doing this, right?
Nope.
Nobody's throwing their hand up and going, me that wanted this shit. Now, that WME or DW or nobody over there at the UFC are bad business people. So it makes you think if they are doing something like this, like upping the price in a climate like this, where everybody's going to be against that, why would they be doing something like that? Now,
look, $5 from like 100,000 people is a lot of money.
I seen somebody float the idea on Twitter. They are trying to drive up the price of pay-per-view to make those numbers dwindle to eventually head the Fight Pass. And I do not think that is that far-fetched. I think that, and now I'm just completely speaking hypothetically here.
Okay.
I think at some point, Dana White and company want to do what Vince McMahon did with the WWE. I do think that eventually they want to take the party to Fight Pass, get $10-15 out of the most of us, get 2-3 million subscribers, and call it a day. Content on there. The question is, how feasible is that? Now, I tell you right now, Jack, if they make Fight Pass $15 a month and they put all their pay-per-views, all the Fox deals coming to a close, right? What if they put it all, they bet it all on black? They bet everything on themselves. They say, fuck Fox, fuck HBO, fuck Fox Sports 1. We're taking all of the most high-level mixed martial arts on this planet and taking it to Fight Pass. Everybody come join us. I'm definitely in. But do you think they could do 2-3 million? Because they would need something. I think me and Kyle looked it up one time. They said they would need 2.4 million subscribers at $25 a month. So they would need like 3 million subscribers or something like that at $15 a month. I don't know if they can hit that number, but maybe.
And at that point, they would really have to improve their processes, right? Because they've had problems with like the streaming before, so they have to work on that. Real quick, Fight Book, a lot of problems. Yeah, a lot of problems. Fight Book said, "Fuck that shit. I'm not paying. Watch it on my computer." The main allegedly, well, main card on to me is not worth 60-65. Joel says, "I'd rather spend $64 at a taco truck." Raider says, "You're at the wrong taco truck, bro."
Or he's at the right taco truck and he's buying for a lot of people.
Yeah. Anyway, and then Raider says, "I'm watching it on Sunday. I'm going to Bellator. I don't give a fuck."
Ooh, Bellator's got a decent card too.
That's not bad. Look, to me, it's the same. It's the same, not the same level as UFC, the UFC fights, but the main and the co-main are worth watching. Sudden and Rampage, I'll watch that. And then, but Rory and fucking Lima, is it Lima? Yeah, Lima. Yeah, that's gonna be good.
High level. Can
we address really quick how pissed Rory McDonald is about that whole thing going down? How they have initially coined him and Lima as the main event.
Yeah.
Sales were not doing so good and everything was not going well. Then they put Hype Man Chael and Rampage as the main event. I mean, and plus, I don't know if we were going to talk about it or not, but now they have Jay Glazer on the announced team along with Big John McCarthy. What the hell's going on over in Bellator, man? Like, they literally are just taking off anything that they can to try and make their product something that the UFC kind of resembles the UFC. I mean, Big John.
To get names. It's about names. This whole game is about fucking names. For example, Rory McDonald and Douglas Lima not being the main event is because Rampage and Sutton are bigger names historically, right? Everyone knows those names more than they know the other two. So it's about names.
But does that? Does that really fucking matter? Like, anybody who was coming to this fucking card knew that Rampage and Chael was the co-main event. Like, real shit. Does switching those fights sell you any more tickets? No. Are there really morons out there that are like, oh, dang, Rampage and Chael? Like, you knew they was the co-main. Like, if you had seen this card or heard about this card, you knew you was getting both these fights regardless. Like, it seems a bit goofy to think that switching them around would really sell you that many more tickets. I mean, maybe I'm being naive at Rampage and Shale's fucking drawing power, but they're still on the fucking card. Like, you know, Jesus is right. That's fucking stupid, and it pissed off Rory. And I don't know who the fuck thinks that's a good idea, but I got to give Bellator credit. This card, fucking Aaron Pico, Michael Chandler, you know, the co-main and the main event. Bellator's got a fucking nice card.
It's a good card
overall. It's not bad at all.
No, it's a pretty good.
Hey,
decision on that. And Jay Glazer.
What?
And think about it. In probably by the end of the year, they'll also have the most dominant women's 145 fighter over there.
If y'all haven't heard, Chris Cyborg's like, I'm gonna finish up my contract. I got 3 fights left, and I'm gonna head over to Bellator where my division is. Bye. Bye, Felicia.
But yeah, fuck, you just took the words out of my mouth. I actually was talking. I wasn't talking. I got into a little bit of a Facebook fucking spat with somebody from some Facebook fucking group because they were like, yeah, man, she should go to Bellator. Bellator's female, Bellator's women's featherweight division stacked. Man, stack these fucking nuts. Bellator's female division ain't shit, Jack. Here, let me let y'all in on a little fucking news flash. There is no fucking women's featherweight division. It doesn't exist. And don't give me no bullshit about Julia Budd or whatever the fuck's going on. Actual stars or competition for Cyborg at featherweight right now. Can you find girls for her to fight? Sure. But do any of us really give a fuck? Not even a little.
Nope.
She needs a little time for those girls to fight each other to make anything worthwhile. Her going to Bellator is fucking stupid. I'm so fucking sick and tired of Cyborg. I can't stand it. Girl, bye. You said you wanted big fights. Now you're getting them. Shut the fuck up. You said you couldn't make 35. Fine. You can't make 40. Cool beans. We'll give you 45 with nobody even there, and then we'll send you fucking opponents like Goro to come challenge you. And now all of a sudden you don't want that?
No, here's the thing. Even she can't find a fucking opponent. She can't find an opponent.
Well, yeah. They
what
don't.
You want to grow them?
Well, and I mean, look, they're offering you Amanda Nunes. She was brought in to fight you a few years ago.
Yep.
Stop it with the Brazilian bullshit. I mean.
And Nunes wants to fight, by the way. Nunes wants to fight.
Right. Amanda is on record and saying
like, yeah.
She wasn't being disrespectful. She wasn't trying to ham it up. She was just saying, look, this is a good fight. It's the right time. It's a real super fight. I want to challenge myself. Thanks. Let's do it. Cyborg's making excuses. Like, I do not want to call anybody scared. I don't think Cyborg's scared.
She's not scared.
But I think that she might be very picky and choosy with who she wants to fight and when she wants to fight them for her legacy. This is a big fight.
Can we call this the GSP kind of Johnny Hendricks syndrome here? Because like once she became the 145 UFC champion, now she's got a game plan. Now she's trying to fight more tactically. Now she's not being the cyborg destroyer that we saw her before, right? And so is she now just protecting what she has? And now she sees the opportunity to jump to Bellator, probably where they'll probably give her more money, but where she sees the competition is not even close to what the UFC might be bringing towards her. Like, is this one of those situations where now we have a champion that is fighting to not lose instead of, fighting to be an exciting champion, fighting to please all the fans and show them exactly what they have, for everybody. Honestly, though, it just hurts me to know that, for every person that was a Cyborg fan that, wanted her to be here in the UFC, and now she's turning the back on everybody and saying, well, I'm just going to go to Bellator because, I'm done with this. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, why is she saying she wasn't going to Bellator, but for the challenge?
No,
it's not the money. She's saying like the challenge.
No, she said that's where my division is. Basically,
right.
They got a bigger 145 division.
But Jesus Christ!
By the way, she smashes all of them.
Well, yeah, that's the point. Yeah, they got a bigger fucking division of broads. Nobody wants to see you fight. It's not fair, Cyborg. Stop it. You just had your first fair fight. God damn, stick around and take some more fair fights, man. Don't go to Bellator and fight girls we've never heard of.
So question on that. You think maybe the fact that she went all 5 rounds at home, she couldn't finish her, bothers her a little bit?
I mean, I don't want to start reading too much into things.
No, but I mean, I'm not saying she's scared, but I mean, she's like, oh shit, maybe I can't really.
I wouldn't imagine that her confidence is at an all-time high, right? She didn't go in and start her out in the first round like she's done to a lot of other women.
Yeah. I don't know.
You know what? I'm in California. I'll take the risk. Yeah, I think she's scared of losing what she has. I think seeing that she couldn't finish somebody that, and feeling that she was with in the octagon with somebody as strong as her, you know, because Holly really did prove that she was as strong as Cyborg, you know, pushing her up against the cage, holding her there. Yeah. I think Cyborg might feel like, wow, like maybe my best days are behind me and maybe I should look for the easier fights and stay undefeated.
Yeah, and look, it's very possible, but I mean, what does she want? 135 to come up? It's just, she can't really even say what she wants. She just talks and talks and talks. So, and unless she wants to fight Holly Holm again, I don't know what the fuck she wants in the UFC. All right. Anything else you guys want to hit on before we move on to UFC 220?
Can I ask you a question? Did you listen to the Tyron Woodley Joe Rogan thing? Podcast?
Oh god, that. By the way, I highly, if you're a jiu-jitsu head, like you train or you enjoy jiu-jitsu, the Danaher one is legit as fuck. All right, Joe Rogan, John Danaher, bad as fuck. Listen to that. The Tyron Woodley one was annoying at best.
Annoying. Wow.
No, here's the thing. I understood what he was talking about, but he sounded salty. He sounded like he was pissed. He sounded like he felt disrespected, but then he claimed he didn't. And it's just like, be honest about it, dude.
Here's my question. I don't know if Fred listened to it as well, but
I did.
To me, I actually became more of a fan of Woodley, knowing that he was honestly talking about how he feels and what he's been through, than the Woodley we get when he's like trying to hype up a fight, or the way he is like when he's in kind of like that fight mode where he's like, oh, you know, I don't want to do this, you know, I want to be the best champion, all this stuff. But when he was talking about how he broke down people's, you know, games and how he was able to neutralize this stuff and all this stuff, like it made me a bigger fan of Woodley.
Yeah,
but then when he's talking about how he's like disrespected and all this stuff, but then he's like, yeah, but I'm not saying that. Like all that stuff made it just annoying. You're right, Eddie. It was like annoying to hear him say that stupid stuff, but I actually became a bigger fan of Woodley.
No, I enjoyed the smart part where he breaks down. Like he was giving examples. That was pretty fucking cool. What I didn't like was that, you know, like Rogan will be like, you sound like you're upset about something. I'm not upset. And we're all watching like, yeah, you fucking are, dude. We can hear you. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to put that shit out there, put it out there, but fucking own it. Don't be backtracking and going forward, back and forth. But the breaking down shit was pretty legit. Honestly, if you think about it, he's one of the better analysts, like in studio. Yeah, he's actually a pretty goddamn good analyst. I got to give him that. But like, I enjoyed it, but I was just annoyed with the backtracking, a constant backtracking with how he actually feels about certain things. You know, and whatever reason he was doing that for, I don't know. But, you know, that's Tyron Woodley for you. Anything else? Nope. All right, let's talk about UFC 220 real quick here. UFC 220 this Saturday from Boston. I think this is I want to say it's at the TD Garden, but I'm not 100% sure. UFC Fight Pass prelims kick off at 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Pacific time. Wow, Gleason Tebow has fallen. Gleason Tebow is in the Fight Pass prelims, dude.
Dude, Gleason Tebow is 197 years old.
Yeah, but how do you fall? I mean, you can at least be FS1. What the fuck? Anyway, he's getting fed to a Russian cat, Islam Makhachev, who we've seen before. And then in the main early prelim, Enrique Barzola against Matt Bissett. Then the FS1 prelims are 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time on FS1, kicked off by Dan Ige against Julio Arce. Then Dustin Ortiz against Alexandre Pantoja, which should be a pretty legit fight. Sabah Almasi against Abdul Razak Al Hassan. And then the main prelim, the feature prelim, Kyle Barchniak against Brendan Davis. And then, of course, the main card, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Before you heard this name, you would be like, holy shit, it's going to be crazy. Now you kind of wonder what you're going to get from him. Thomas Almeida against Ralph Font. A good fight. But with Thomas Almeida, you're just like, are we going to get the killer? Or are we going to get like the hesitant kid? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be kind of a trip there. Real quick, what's your pick there, Fred?
I like Almeida in that fight. I mean, I think he'll be the killer of old. We'll see what happens, but I like Almeida.
All right, Jesse.
I'll go out on a limb and say Rob Font. I've kind of lost a little bit of faith in Almeida here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Almeida and really just hoping that he's coming back as a killer that we know him to be. All right. Same. After those guys, light heavyweights, John Villante against Francimar Barroso. It's a lot of people get picking John in this one, but I don't. I'm picking Barroso, and it kind of like Fred. I'm like, eh.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I am not even picking this fight. John, you know what? Fuck it. I'll pick it John Villante just because he's fun, but I could honestly give two remote fucks about this fight.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Jesse?
Can I flip a coin and just pick whoever might win here? Because it doesn't really matter. Barroso, probably.
Yeah, right. It doesn't. It honestly doesn't mean jack shit for the light heavyweight division, unless one of them gets like a crazy like Superman knockout from like in like 0.1 seconds. All right. Then after them, we got featherweights, Calvin Kattar against Shane Burgos. The Hurricane. Yeah. Hurricane's undefeated, but it's not a fight that's going to get you like ready for DC Ozdemir. But if I got to pick, I'm going Burgos on this one. Jesse?
I am so lost here.
Bro, they want us to pay $65 for this shit.
Right.
If anybody has a real good analysis on any of these three fights that we just talked about, good on you. Really, really good on you, because you are more of a MMA head than me. But I'm at a loss, man, of who's gonna win this fight.
I know you guys know what's his name? He's been on our show before. Shit, he does this whatever, I forget his name, but I feel bad that I forget it because it's good. But they call it they do this Care Don't Care show. They'll stream it during the day. It's called Care and Don't Care. Eugene, thank you. Eugene Robinson.
Yeah, Eugene S.
Robinson does his show with some dude I don't know, and
Kid Nate from Bloody
That's
Elbow.
right, Bloody Elbow. Thank you. See, I'm glad you know the names. I fucking don't.
The Care Don't Care.
Yeah. So they do Care Don't Care. I like that shit. I mean,
yeah, I fuck with Care Don't Care. I haven't watched it for a while. I used to watch it religiously though.
I used to watch it all the time.
Break down the cards and they burn through the shit that nobody cares about. It's like true. Yeah. Don't care about that one. Boom. Like this right now. Who gives a fuck about Shane Burgos versus whoever the fuck? Let's talk about goddamn Volkan Ozdemir versus DC. Enough with the foreplay. Let's have some sex.
DC's back to try and prove he's still champion. To a lot of people still kind of paper champion because he lost to Jones twice. DC against Volkan Ozdemir. You got a guy that's proven what he can do against Ozdemir, who just finishes fights in seconds. What's it say? He's fought like 77 seconds total, 70 seconds or something like that.
No, because his first fight was a unanimous decision.
I don't know what I heard.
Yeah.
I don't know where I heard that number.
Fights are like 77 seconds or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. Sense. All right, Jesse, who are you picking?
Man, I would love to say that the upset here, but you just can't bet against DC, man. He's been in there with some heavy hitters. The only X factor is that Ozdemir was the main training partner for Rumble, right?
Right.
That's the selling point right here, right? That he's like a better version, a more refined version of Rumble. Blah 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 blah. I just think DC's pretty proven, and I think he's going to prove that he's the best 205er.
All right, I'm taking DC as well. I like Volkan a lot. I really do. But the fact that he was the training partner for Anthony Johnson, and when you want training partners, you want guys that kind of emulate the guy you're fighting. This is the guy. It's like, I don't know, but I would love to see the upset. But I'm taking DC, man, proven, and I think he's done after this one. But that's just my opinion. Fred.
Yeah, I mean, same, man. I think that fucking Volkan could obviously land that knockout punch, but if he don't, fuck. Like, DC's got a million different ways to win this fight. Volkan's got one.
Yeah, the only thing that would surprise me is that Volkan somehow on the ground was like competent in jiu-jitsu. I don't know his jiu-jitsu background. I mean, I'm sure he trains and everything.
Bro, that's the problem with DC. Even if you're competent at jiu-jitsu, it's DC. His wrestling is going to eat you alive. You're not going to catch him in a triangle or something, dog.
Exactly.
Like, unless you knock the shit out of him and he lands in your guard, then maybe. But
true.
Consider Volkan needs a Hail Mary to win this fight, man.
And that's pretty much accurate as fuck. All right, on to the main course. Stipe Miocic out of your spot, out of Ohio, fucking defending his title against Francis Ngannou. And is it Ngannou or Ngannou, or how do you say it, Jesse?
Whatever.
Jesse knows.
Ngannou.
Ngannou. All right, we'll go with Ngannou. This is kind of all over the place. I haven't seen the odds. I don't want to be corrupted by the odds, but I'm assuming that Stipe is a slight, or that Francis is a slight favorite. I'm thinking, but I'm not
he is.
Sure.
He is.
Is he?
Yeah.
I'll go first. I'm taking Stipe, man. I think Stipe finds a way. I think Stipe finds a way, man. I don't think we're gonna get a fucking like an Overeem trying to stand with him. That's just me, Fred.
You know what, man? I don't know what to say about this fight. I kind of, the more I think about it, I low-key want to agree with you. I myself get wrapped up in the Ngannou hype, which is probably justified, and he might just crumble Stipe in the first round.
Good.
But the more I think about this shit, Stipe is the seasoned fighter, and all he has to do is, weather that storm. If he can get past the first round or two, this fight could look completely different, man. And Stipe used to wrestle.
Yeah.
What if Stipe just says fuck it and tries to fight smart and shoots a fucking far out crazy double leg and just wrestles dude to the ground? Wouldn't be that crazy for him to just execute a game plan. I'm still picking Francis Ngannou. And I know I'm the worst Ohioan in the world for doing that shit, but I just can't pick against that cocksucker right now.
All right.
But I do think that Francis needs to win it in the first round.
No, for sure.
I think that Stipe's definitely got the experience, the gas tank, and the wrestling experience that getting messier starts getting, into different facets of the game. It's going to be Stipe's fight all day long. But fight starts on the feet and the fight starts at range. If Francis keeps that range right and just keeps swinging those big meat hooks, Stipe has been knocked out before by not quite a guy like Francis, but by Struve, another beastly human that had long fucking reach that was able to pepper him up from outside. Now, that was a long time ago. We'll see if Stipe learned from that, but it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world to see Ngannou fucking go upside Stipe's head.
That'd be so nuts, man. Jesse, who are you picking?
Wow. I have to go with Francis Ngannou, but I think the reason for me is because if you look at Stipe's last couple fights, against Overeem he got clipped. Against Verdum he also got clipped. In his firefight against Junior Dos Santos, he got peppered up. And he lost that fight, even though a lot of people think he won that fight, he lost that fight. Like you guys just mentioned, Struve, there's a lot of guys that he has fought where his wrestling would have been better implemented, but because he got into a firefight with them, he got hurt. Now he's a tough guy. He's a blue collar hero to a lot of people. He's a fireman. He's the type of crazy guy that runs into a fire, into a burning building to save, a puppy or something. He's got a different mentality where the danger does not register in his brain. And I think this is a problem in this fight because he's not going to register the danger of Francis hits really hard and he'll put him away in one shot. He's of the mentality of, well, I'm going to absorb one of his shots and I'm going to hit him with one of mine and I'm going to put him away. And that's not the mentality you want against Francis. And I think that's the mentality that's going to get him in trouble. Now he could wrestle him down, but even Curtis Blades, who's a much better wrestler than Stipe, was not able to take him down, and that was quite a couple fights ago. I think that was his first fight in the UFC. But I do like that Stipe took a page out of my playbook here and took this fight as fast as possible to try and stop Francis from getting too much better. But I think this Francis is a lot better than he was a couple months ago, even last year. So I think Francis is going to be our next heavyweight champion.
It's possible, man. Real quick on the YouTube comments, talking about DC. Raider and Joel taking DC. And Priya Rose says, it's my birthday. Her birthday's on Saturday. So happy birthday on Saturday.
Hey.
She says, it's my birthday. It'll be ruined if DC loses. Only loss that's made me cry. Yeah, I remember that shit. Yeah, and she goes, and please retire and don't go to heavyweight. Talking about DC. Oh, Raider says that. Yeah, please don't go to heavyweight. So yeah. I love puppies. Go Stipe. Joel says. Oh, Joel says, how about this? I go to. Hey, listen to this. Joel says, how about this? I go to Extreme Couture to spar Francis. Let you guys know how hard he hits. Good luck.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds like a great idea.
if DC does win and Francis does win, hey Jack, I'm all for the money fight. Let's do DC Francis.
That'd be so crazy.
Who else is at heavyweight unless Kane comes back?
And you got to do it at heavyweight. And you got to do that fight at heavyweight.
Yeah, let DC move up and try to get 2 belts. I mean, fuck, he was undefeated at heavyweight. The only reason he cut down in the first place.
Rose just said, "Shut up, Fred."
No, for real. Look, bro. Look, lost this to John Jones, and John Jones was a cheater. God damn it, John. Those losses don't count. I'm telling you, they don't count to me. They don't count when you taking T-ball. Of course he won. He's taking some shit that made his bones denser. Fuck out of here. DC's the man.
Yeah, DC's the man. All right.
Like, I think DC, we'll see what happens with fucking Stipe. I think DC could take Francis down. Quite frankly, dare I go on a limb, I think he might be able to take Francis down at will. Quite frankly, I'm just talking. I know we got to go. I got to go too. But God damn it. If DC and Francis fall, Francis better land a big punch quicker. He's fucked. DC would be on him like white on rice.
Yeah, it'd be over. Oh shit, that's crazy. Raider and Priya are having none of that. Rose is like, you leave DC alone. And then Raider says, but he took the polygraph, talking about John Jones. Real quick, he took a polygraph, he passed it. And I think DC said something like, what did he say? He said, did you get
Jeffrey Dahmer took the polygraph and then he killed the guy that administered the test.
Yeah, something like that. He said something to that effect.
Or Ted Bundy or one of
Ted
those.
Bundy. He
was
Ted Bundy. He said Ted Bundy passed the polygraph test.
I'll quickly sum this up with just a little bit of, sense. There's a reason these things aren't applicable in court.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Y'all see all the Twitters down here? Follow all that. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you go to hit up wow, I can't even think right now. Hit up keyboardwarriorsmma.com for all the episodes. On YouTube, you can hit up iTunes, subscribe at Keyboard Warriors MMA. Of course, repthewarriors.com. Shout out to Represent for hooking us up with all, with the fucking sponsorship. You guys are the shit. Shout out to Joe Perez in the chat. Raider, Priya Rose. I know I saw Uncle Hank's drinking buddy here earlier. Joy Tremendous was here. Gary Costin, Fight Book MMA. Dave Mann stopped by for a second. Normies aren't homies. That's a great fucking name. He was here. Loudmouth, your boy Kyle was here. Gun Des was here earlier. Appreciate all you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Keep your shit up. Like the video if you enjoyed it. And bye. For myself, friend Jesse, everyone have a good night. Enjoy yourselves. Good night, Wilshire.